What up, cuz? What up, blood? What up, gangsta?
Here we go, folks, the final Survivor Series of Reliving the War. It's November 19th, 2000. We're in the Ice Palace in Tampa, Florida. 18,500 are in the building and an estimated 400,000 are watching at home. And tonight, people are tuning in to see Stone Cold Steve Austin take on Triple H. 2 weeks ago, Hunter admitted to being the mastermind behind Austin getting run over at last year's Survivor Series. So 12 months later, Stone Cold's ready to get his payback. The Rock takes on Rikishi tonight. Rikishi was the man who ran Stone Cold down, but he recently tried to frame The Rock as the mastermind. So Rock's gonna just bring it to his cousin as the Bloodline explodes at Survivor Series. We kick off with an intergender 6-person tag team match. The Test and Albert Protection Agency and Trish taking on Crash Holly, Molly Holly, and Steve motherfucking Blackman. Cousin Molly Holly's the one to watch here. She made her WWF debut a few weeks ago and we already know how good she is, though taking your attention away from Sensei Blackman does prove difficult. I mean, just look at that leg sweep, my god. In comes Crash Holly and he gets caught out by Big Albert. Hero Steve Blackman saves the day with a dropkick, though Albert refocuses and Crash gets planted with a clothesline. Trish thinks she can take on Crash, she tags in and Albert holds Elroy in place. Crash jumps up and it's Albert who takes a kick in the balls, and fans are eager to see Molly Holly get her hands on Trish, but it doesn't happen. Molly chases Trish around the ring before Test tags in. Cousin Crash has to come back in and he does pretty well here against Test. His Hurricane Rana looked fantastic and Test found himself in a bad spot. But a big boot fixed that little problem and Crash needs help. He needs Sensei Blackman. In comes Albert for some double team action. Crash manages to throw Test into Albert but he gets knocked out on the rebound. Trish Stratus once tagged in again and she gets in the ring only to miss an elbow drop. And I just want to pause here and point something out. This arena's got progressively more smoky as the match continues on. There was no pyro during the entrances, there was pyro to kick off the show, but it had all cleared up. So there's either been a malfunction at the stage or someone's trying to hotbox the entire arena. Molly Holly comes in to take care of Trish, body slams, elbow drops, a few chops at the ring ropes. The evil Test grabs Molly by the hair and the referee gives him a warning. But while this is going on, Molly tags in Blackman and the referee doesn't see it. This means Molly's going to get set up for a TNA double team move, but thankfully Crash and Blackman come in for the rescue. Our match ends with Trish and Molly Holly getting left in the ring. Molly gets choked out and she takes a middle rope bulldog. Trish sets Molly up for a top rope move, but the newcomer kicks her opponent away and Molly wins it with a diving sunset flip. A decent pay-per-view debut for Molly Holly here, but folks who saw her compete in WCW know she's capable of a lot more. Still, there were no mistakes here and everything was tight, so not a bad debut at all. Kurt Angle approaches Edge and Christian, and the boys think they know what Kurt's going to ask them. Kurt's going to want backup for his match against The Undertaker, but Angle says no. Kurt owns The Undertaker, and all the WWF Champion wants to know is if the boys want to go out for a few non-alcoholic beverages after the show. We have another WWF pay-per-view debut next. K-Kwik's here. He's teaming up with his partner Road Dogg, Chyna, and the one Billy Gunn to take on the Radicalz. This is the first of 2 traditional Survivor Series matches on our card tonight, and there's something really weird about seeing Road Dogg becoming a full-blown robber thanks to this new partnership. Billy comes out with his I've Got It All theme song, still can't get over how they took Assman away, and the Radicalz come down to the ring looking very confident before our match gets underway. The Radicalz should win this. These guys are supposed to be the well-oiled wrestling machines, though things don't look too good when Chyna and Billy Gunn perform a double suplex on Saturn. Chyna works over Perry for a bit, she pulls off a power slam and a flapjack. She delivers a low blow when Saturn catches her during the handspring back elbow, and Chyna then takes this opportunity to smack her former fiancé. This was a mistake because Eddie gets in the ring and Chyna gets clocked with the IC belt. So Chyna's the first person eliminated and we move to Road Dogg and Eddie Guerrero. Road Dogg gets choked out in the opposition's corner, and when he tries a dancey punch, he ends up taking a low drop kick. The Radicalz are now going to focus on Roddy's knee with Eddie pulling off his apron senton, but when he goes for the frog splash, Road Dogg magically heals up and Guerrero takes a superplex. In comes Billy Gunn and he foolishly jumps right into the Radicalz corner. He does manage to fight his way out though, and the crowd pops as Billy goes to work on Eddie. Latino Heat takes a press slam, Billy then performs a sleeper slam, and that's going to be Eddie Guerrero eliminated. It's now 3-on-3. In comes K-Kwik to do some work against Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit, and boy does he ever get a chance to show what he can do here. Truth uses his ring time to the fullest with fast athletic counters and some fantastic looking kicks, though he takes a German suplex from Benoit which leads to his elimination. Even the German suplex looked good. K-Kwik wasn't in the match long at all. Some might say his time in the ring was a little quick, yeah, but he definitely made the most of it. Next out is Road Dogg Jesse James. A Northern Light suplex from Southern puts Roddy away, so it's now 3-on-1, and I would have been really disappointed if Billy pulled this off. Nothing against Billy at all, but he shouldn't be clearing out 3 out of the 4 Radicalz. Stenko Malenko's first to bring it to Billy. Benoit provides a low bridge and Billy falls out of the ring. This allows the Radicalz to attack on the outside, but Saturn superkicks Benoit, and this in turn allows the one Billy Gunn to hit a famouser in the ring completely uninterrupted. Dean Malenko gets eliminated, so in comes Saturn to take the jackhammer. Benoit saves his partner and Billy ends up taking the dive and headbutt, but Billy kicks out at 2 and Benoit can't believe it. Our match ends with Billy throwing Chris into Saturn. Saturn falls off the apron and Billy wants to bring Benoit back in with a suplex. Perry grabs Billy's foot, Benoit falls on top of Billy. The one Billy Gunn gets pinned and the Radicalz win this Survivor Series match. Nothing special, and honestly the best thing about this match was K-Kwik. The Rock is in no mood for interviews. He walks right past Lillian Garcia, so he must mean serious, and I mean serious business tonight. Chris Jericho, meanwhile, requested a match against Kane. This all started because Jericho spilled coffee on the Big Red Machine, and Kane, well, he didn't take it too well, to put it lightly. Though Y2J says he's going to unleash his own inner monster in our next match. So yeah, let's see it. Monster Chris Jericho versus Kane. Here we go. Chris ducks a few punches and he lays a few into the Big Red Machine, and if this is what he meant by becoming a monster, then I'm not so sure, guys. One knee strike and Chris is on the mat, though Y2J comes back with a dropkick that sends Kane to the outside. Y2J then performs a baseball slide. He then summons his inner monster for a plancha, and yeah, that wasn't pretty. JR tries to explain it as Jericho giving it everything he's got, but if that's everything Jericho's got right now, then it's not looking good. Kane gets the upper hand on the outside. The Ayatollah takes a bump at the ring steps. Chris comes back with his springboard dropkick, and Jericho's going to use those ring steps when performing another dropkick. Back in the ring, Chris goes for a flying crossbody. Kane catches him and Y2J takes a power slam. Here comes Chris with more right hands, and here comes Kane with a flopjack. This one's kinda reminding me of Jericho vs X-Pac at No Mercy last month. There's no heat really after a 4 or 5 week build up. Jericho runs into a big boot. Kane then performs an inverted chokelift. The destruction of Chris Jericho continues with more right hands and a few kicks, and Kane removes the top turnbuckle pad, which leads to both men trying and failing to drill one another into the exposed steel. The Big Red Machine goes up for his flying clothesline. Jericho stops it with a dropkick. Y2J tries to win it with a missile dropkick, and when Kane goes for Snake Eyes, Jericho counters it and he throws Kane into the exposed turnbuckle. Chris then applies the Walls of Jericho. It stays in for an extended period of time, but Kane makes it to the ropes. So Jericho goes for the lion salt, and this would turn out to be a big mistake. Kane grabs Jericho by the neck. Chris tries to break free, but it's no good. Kane performs the chokeslam, and Jericho gets beaten. It's Survivor Series. I certainly didn't see Jericho becoming a monster in this match. The match itself was very by the numbers, and it went on a bit too long. I really didn't care for this one, unfortunately. Terry Runnels informs the Radicalz that Triple H just arrived and Hunter's going to discuss some business with the boys in just a moment. This makes Benoit laugh like a lunatic, and I fail to see what's so funny. Goodwill ambassador William Regal comes to the ring for a European title defense. Regal says Americans can't do the most basic things like elect a president nor say please and thank you at the appropriate times. Americans are also fond of interrupting people, so here comes Regal's opponent Hardcore Holly to interrupt the European champion. Bombastic hardcore bastard Sparky Plug Thurman Robert Buddy Holly returns the pay-per-view tonight with a shoulder block and an arm drag to Lord Regal. He lights Willie up in the corner, but the champ gets a boot up in the opposite corner and Holly gets his shoulder drilled into the ring post. This gets followed with Regal focusing on the arm, seeing as Holly's returning from having that arm broken. Regal twists away at Holly as the challenger struggles on the mat. The two get up and Regal reverses a suplex attempt by doing more damage to the arm and shoulder. Regal even gives fans the royal wave as he keeps the pressure on, and the champion applies a cross arm breaker, but Holly doesn't give up. Instead, he makes it to the ropes and Regal lays the boots in. More waving from his lordship. I waved back at my TV screen. Holly comes back with a running crossbody, but he's still selling that arm after the move. Regal performs a low blow, he ties Holly to the top and middle ropes and he throws punches at the injured arm. But when Holly frees himself, he puts Regal down with a clothesline and Regal takes some damage on the outside. The finish of the match sucked. Holly grabbed the European title and he hit Regal right in front of the referee. So this one ends in disqualification, though Holly doesn't seem to care. The crowd don't care either. There's no reaction for the finish. There's no reaction for Holly's post-match beatdown, so again, not great. Trish Stratus once again offers Kurt Angle some assistance, seeing as Stephanie McMahon isn't around. Trish has been trying to get close to Angle for quite some time now, but Kurt doesn't understand what kind of assistance Trish is referring to. Angle says he's all good, he doesn't need help from TNA tonight, so Angle blows it once again and Trish is left bewildered. Next up, it's The Rock vs Rikishi. We all know the story here and we don't need to go over it. But in short, Rikishi framed The Rock as the mastermind behind Austin getting ran over, but all along it was Triple H. Rock wants to get some payback for what Rikishi did, and this isn't business for The Rock tonight, it's personal. Rock's very eager to get the match started. He rushes down to the ring and I've never seen Rock throwing punches this fast before. The start of this match alone has people going nuts, so in a matter of seconds, Rock's gotten the biggest reaction from this audience tonight at Survivor Series. Rock grabs a chair, he wants to destroy Rikishi in the early going, but the referee takes it away and Rock ends up taking a sidekick. Keep in mind too that on Raw, Rikishi delivered a sledgehammer shot to The Rock before the show went on the air, so Rock's going to sell this attack as the match goes on. Rikishi performs a leg drop, he brings Rock to the corner for a few punches to the chest. Rock tries to fire up with a few right hands, but he ends up walking straight into a sidewalk slam. The two go outside where the focus remains on Rock's injury. Anytime Rock gets some momentum, he gets shut right back down again. Our esteemed referee Tim White takes a bump when Rock gets thrown into him, and after Rikishi puts Rock in the ring, he grabs himself a sledgehammer. He proves it's a real sledgehammer by hitting it off the ring post a few times, but he doesn't get a chance to use it as the Big Oos walks straight into a rock bottom. The crowd roared for this move and it's good to see. The audience wasn't very hot for the first lot of matches, but they're fully invested right here. The referee wakes up, but he takes way too long. Rikishi kicks out at 2 and the match continues on. Rikishi takes a ton of right hands, but he stops a spit punch and he delivers a headbutt. Rocky's chest must be caving in right now, and another headbutt from Rikishi won't help matters. A Samoan drop follows. Rikishi takes a seat on his opponent. Somehow the Rock kicks out, so Rikishi goes back to his old ways with a corner hip attack and a stink face. Yeah, I'm surprised Rock actually took this move, and I'm surprised Rock was even asked to take this move. It was kinda unnecessary, given the story of the match. Still, Rock gets his payback with a thunderous clothesline. Great inside-out bump from Rikishi right here. When the two get up, Rock shows his strength with a spinebuster and he remembers to sell that injured chest as he gets to his feet. The people see the people's elbow, and after a long crawl to his opponent, Rock wins via pinfall. It wasn't what anyone would call a wrestling clinic, but my god did the crowd get into this one. Perfect example here of how a good audience reaction can make a match so much better. Rikishi, the big sore loser that he is, hits Rock with a super kick after the bell. The People's Champ also takes not 1, not 2, but 3 bonsai drops. That's a lot of bonsai, ladies and gents. And Rikishi beats up officials before going to leave the ring. He decides to come back in and give Rocky one last bonsai drop for good measure, and Jim Ross says The Rock will never be the same after this beatdown. Stone Cold Steve Austin has arrived at Survivor Series. Triple H and the Radicalz watched Austin walking into the arena, and Mick Foley paid the boys a visit to let Triple H know that the Radicalz are barred from tonight's main event. The Triple H vs Austin match will also be no disqualification, and Hunter says no problem. Steve Austin's going to leave this event without the use of his legs, according to Triple H, so I'm intrigued about what Hunter could have up his sleeve later tonight. Ivory defended her women's championship next against Lita, and moments into the match, Lita performed an enziguri. While taking the bump, Ivory caught Lita right on the head with the heel of her boot, and this caused the challenger to get busted open pretty badly. To their credit, Ivory played up to the injury by throwing right hands right into the open wound, and Lita sold it like she was in real danger. But she did come back with a head scissor takedown before throwing Ivory out of the ring. The challenger then performed a dive to the outside where she landed on Ivory and Steven Richards, and she continued pleasing the audience with a diving crossbody back inside the ring. This one ended, however, in typical right to censor fashion. Ivory tried to use the women's belt as a weapon, but she initially failed. Lita went for the moonsault, Stevie distracted the referee, and Lita landed on the belt, which allowed Ivory to win via pinfall. Fair play to Lita though, her face was an absolute state and she definitely got rocked pretty bad in this match. She didn't let it shake her confidence at all and she continued on like a pro, so good stuff here from the challenger. Backstage, Jonathan Coachman reveals that The Rock's spitting up a lot of blood and the coach hopes to get an update later on. And we then cut to Chris Jericho attacking Kane because, I don't know. I guess Jericho realised he didn't show much of his monstrous side earlier on and he wants to make up for it. I suppose this means the Jericho and Kane rivalry is going to continue on, so at least they'll get another chance to put on a good match. Kurt Angle defends his WWF title next against The Undertaker. Taker won a fatal 4-way on SmackDown a few weeks ago to get this opportunity, and Kurt Angle wants to prove he's no one's whipping boy when he faces the American Badass tonight at Survivor Series. These two faced each other at Fully Loaded this year. That match had more of a comedy slant to it, so let's see if Angle gets serious tonight. Taker says Deadman Incorporated's opened its doors and it's time for the Golden Boy to take his last ride. And yeah, Deadman Incorporated's much better than that Crime Incorporated t-shirt Taker had on a few weeks ago. Survivor Series 2000 marks the beginning of Kurt Angle's second year in the WWF and he promises to make it even better than the first. Kurt thought it would be a good idea to get the people of Florida to vote for their favourite Kurt Angle moment so far, but seeing as they messed up the election voting, Kurt decides to list his accomplishments instead. Kurt gets interrupted by The Undertaker. The American Badass does a lap around the ring. He gets inside the ropes and who the fuck dressed this man because those pants don't suit you at all, mate. I'm no fashion guru, but snakeskin pants are definitely a choice. Everyone believed the Taker forgot his gear and the Godfather had to lend him a pair of pants so he could compete in the ring. Bit silly seeing as Taker wore jeans or black pants anyway, but the Godfather took the time to debunk this long-standing rumour.
Let's debunk this right now. Those are not my pants. Undertaker had those pants made. He was trying something. It didn't work. He always, to this day, he says it was one of the biggest mistakes he made, but those were not my pants,
So there you go, Undertaker realised it was a bad choice and we never saw the python pants again. Didn't stop Taker from ribbing Godfather for 20 plus years though. Angle's afraid to get in the ring, he'll only step into the ropes when Taker goes out to grab a chair. The Deadman then throws the chair at Kurt's feet, he's inviting the WWF Champion to hit him. So Kurt says, hell yeah boy, and the Phenom takes a shot on the back while he was taking his jacket off. Angle proceeds to wail the Undertaker until he gets out of breath. Mr. Snakeskin Pants invites Angle to come and try his luck again, and this leads to Taker gaining the advantage. Kurt takes a big boot and a leg drop, and Taker breaks his own cover so he can do more damage. This happens again after a body slam and elbow drop, and after Angle takes old school, he decides the best course of action here is to get out of the ring and run away from his opponent. That confidence Angle had earlier on just isn't there anymore. Still, Kurt tries to fight the Undertaker off when the two get in the ring. The WWF champ ends up taking a few right hands, but when Taker throws a haymaker, Angle ducks it and we see a German suplex. The suplex allows Kurt to regain that confidence he had earlier today and he sends Taker out of the ring with a clothesline, though he decides to jump off the apron and Taker grabs him, resulting in a back bump at the ring post. Another one of these has Kurt selling his back as the two head into the ring once again, but Kurt finds himself a target when Taker misses a big boot. The left leg's going to be Kurt's main focus of attack and the champ does well here to keep the challenger at bay. Even when Taker fights back, Kurt goes straight back to the leg, so it's given Angle a little hope as the match continues on. The Undertaker then performs a rare armbar takedown and he locks in an armbar submission. Edge and Christian show up to distract the referee and Hebner doesn't see Kurt Angle tapping out. Taker releases the hold, Christian gets in a cheap shot, and all Angle has to do is go low again when Taker sets him up for a chokeslam. We're now back to Angle working over the left leg. The match stays on the mat here as Edge and Christian watch on. Taker eventually breaks free by dropping his leg over Kurt's face multiple times. The dead man realizes he has to take Edge and Christian out or these two goons will be interfering right up until the final bell. So E and C get wiped out. Hebner sends the boys back up the ramp. Back in the ring, Angle gets planted with a chokeslam, but the referee's still busy with Edge and Christian. The Undertaker only gets a 2 count and he gets angry with Hebner, and when Kurt tries to steal a pinfall victory, the Undertaker just gets more angry. The Deadman performs a Russian leg sweep, but Angle goes right back to his usual game plan. It's straight back to the left leg, and this is the only thing keeping Taker from destroying Kurt in this match. Angle applies a figure 4, this gets countered and Angle has to grab the ropes, and Taker pulls out another move we don't see him perform too often, a tilt-a-whirl power slam that looked pretty good. Next up, Angle takes a page out of Bret Hart's playbook with a figure 4 around the ring post. This still isn't enough for Angle to win the match though, and Angle gets dropped on the top turnbuckle once the Undertaker gets back to his feet. So, Angle gets desperate. He delivers a low blow and for some reason he thinks he can tombstone the American Badass. This doesn't work out and Taker counters the attempt, but Undertaker also struggles here and Kurt finds himself on the apron. The Undertaker knocks the champion down, Kurt decides he's going to hide under the ring, and when the Undertaker pulls him out, Angle gets ready to take his last ride. Taker performs his finishing move as the crowd pops, Undertaker then covers the champion. 1, 2, and Hebner refuses to make the 3 count. The referee notices that something isn't right, but fans in attendance think we're seeing another Survivor Series screwjob. Undertaker approaches Hebner, a second Kurt Angle shows up, Undertaker gets pinned 1, 2, 3 while Angle had a fistful of snake pants, and Undertaker realizes what just happened. It wasn't Kurt Angle who took the last ride, it was some other dude who kinda looks like Angle. He does a little I guess, but Kurt definitely didn't clone himself before this match. This is actually Kurt's brother Eric, and Eric looks all messed up as the Undertaker goes up the ramp and he goes after the champion. Kurt isn't going to hang around though. The WWF Champion jumps in his car and he drives off into the night after outsmarting the WWF's Phenom. Decent match here, the action was spot on and the finish was quite creative. Just can't get over the Undertaker's pants man. What was he thinking? Our semi-main event's another Survivor Series match. Edge, Christian, Bull Buchanan and the Goodfather taking on the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys, a team collectively known as the Boys. Buchanan and Bubba Ray start us off and the crowd are already chanting "We want tables." They aren't very patient in Tampa tonight. Buchanan takes a clothesline and Bubba tags in Devon. Devon performs a spinning back elbow followed by a shoulder block, and Buchanan answers with a big boot before tagging in the Goodfather. Boot to the face, shoulder block, a choke at the ropes and a tag to Captain Charisma. Devon performs a saving grace on Christian before both men tag out, and we've now got Matt and Edge doing some work inside the ring. Anytime I see these two in the ring during the Attitude Era, I always think about how they had no idea what lay ahead of them. Matt's like a house on fire here as he takes everyone out. This leads to a full-on brawl featuring every team member. The Hardys and the Dudleys pull off a quadruple DDT, and the crowd pops when the Hardys show off their camouflage shirts. The Hardys are honorary Dudleys for one night only. After performing Poetry in Motion, those shirts come off to the soundtrack of 1,000 Screaming Girls. Val Venus then gets involved by dropping Matt over the top rope. Edge then performs the Edge-O-Matic, and this is enough to get Matt eliminated from this match. Next to get eliminated is Devon Dudley. Buchanan hit Devon from the apron and the Dudley boy tried to get some revenge, but it didn't work out. Devon walks right into Christian's Unprettier and the babyfaces are now down to 2. Bubba comes in and Christian takes a beating. In comes Jeff with an Arabian Press moonsault. Christian fights back by throwing Jeff into the ring post and the crowd again chant "We want tables" as Buchanan performs a big press slam. Jeff manages to tag out and the crowd get excited for Bubba's offense. Bubba's a one-man wrecking crew as he takes out every member of the opposing team and he gets an elimination when Edge accidentally spears Bull Buchanan. The heel team continue to make mistakes when Christian accidentally splashes his own tag team partner Edge, and this leads to yet another elimination. It's now Bubba Ray and Jeff Hardy against Christian and the Goodfather, and Goodfather stops Christian from taking a Bubba Bomb before hitting the Dudley boy with a Death Valley driver. This means Jeff's now at a 2-on-1 disadvantage, but the disadvantage doesn't last too long. Jeff throws Christian and the Goodfather, the Hardy boy then sends Christian into the corner. We see a crowd-pleasing Swanton Bomb which leads to Christian getting eliminated, and now all Jeff has to do is eliminate the Goodfather. This happens due to more heel buffoonery. Goodfather misses a hold train and Val Venus accidentally clotheslines his right to censor teammate. Jeff then makes a quick cover and Jeff wins the match for his team. Good action in this one, but the eliminations weren't very creative at all. Nearly every member of the heel team got eliminated due to their partners accidentally hitting them. After the bell, Jeff takes a beating from the right to censor. Val Venus performs the money shot on Jeff, which leads to the Dudley boys and Matt Hardy coming down for the save. The heels are absolutely no match for the babyfaces here, and we see the twist of fate, a 3D, and the Dudleys performing their signature headbutt. The crowd make a lot of noise when Matt and Devon go out to get the tables. Matt puts Venus through the first table with a leg drop that looked more like an ass drop, and Steven Richards takes a Bubba Ray powerbomb that shatters the second table to pieces. This is a match that probably came across better inside the arena than what it did at home. Loads of spots to get the live audience pumped up, and the atmosphere looked great inside the Ice Palace. For fans at home, it was nothing we haven't seen before really, but still pretty fun to sit through. Our main event is Steve Austin vs Triple H. No need to go through the build up for this one because you already know the drill. This one's all about Austin getting revenge after waiting a whole year. He already got his hands on Rikishi at No Mercy last month. Now it's time to get the man who set the whole incident up. Triple H wonders if the Radicalz are ready. Benoit says we know what to do. But remember, the Radicalz are not allowed to interfere in this match. The game comes to the ring and he's got a new version of his My Time entrance music. It's another instrumental version, but it sounds pretty good, a lot heavier than the previous version. What a year this guy's had, eh? When it comes to wrestling's best heel of the year 2000, Triple H has to be number one really. Austin's missed way too much of 2000 to be considered the babyface of the year, but the fans still adore him and right now that's all that matters. Austin flips his opponent off before stepping inside the ring, and it's all stone cold as we get underway. The game's getting messed up big time, and Austin's hell-bent on causing Triple H as much damage as possible. There's nothing fancy here, it's all strikes and no wrestling moves. Hunter tries to get into it with a poke to the eye, but Austin answers with a kitchen sink and Stone Cold's now going to focus on Hunter's lower back. Stone Cold tells the referee that the game's in for a long night as he continues the beatdown, but Triple H comes back with a facebreaker knee smash. This seemingly has no effect on Austin as Stone Cold answers with a Lou Thesz press, and Triple H tries to take a break on the outside, but Austin won't allow it. Triple H gets pummeled at the barrier. The fans cheer Austin on as the game tries to crawl back up the entranceway. We get up to the entrance stage where Austin tries to use a piece of scaffolding as a weapon, but Hunter blocks it and the game's going to take control while the brawl continues on. Hunter throws Stone Cold onto the tech guy's table and the two briefly head to the backstage area to continue their brawl. When they get back to the arena, Triple H counters a suplex with a suplex of his own, and the two eventually make it down to the ringside area where Austin takes a ring step bump. Triple H pays for this moments later when he gets thrown into the ring steps, and what follows is Austin beating the shit out of Triple H at the timekeeper's area. Austin then grabs a monitor from the commentary table and Hunter gets whacked, and this leads to a nasty blade job from Triple H and the blood's pouring pretty fast. To show how serious he is, Austin refuses to have a beer. Instead, he uses his beer cooler to wipe Hunter out, and he then takes a drink while contemplating his next move. The crowd pops as Austin takes a swig while Triple H looks like an absolute mess, and Austin finishes his drink by smashing the can over Hunter's head. Hunter gets sent into the ring. Austin grabs the ring bell. Stone Cold doesn't get a chance to use the bell though, as he and Hunter scrap on the mat and Triple H knows he can't win here. So he performs a low blow and an eye rake. Austin's been weakened considerably, so when he goes for the stunner, Triple H easily counters with a neck breaker. Stone Cold then gets his head squeezed against the ring post as Triple H gets a little vicious. He can't, however, secure a pinfall win, so he delivers a swinging neck breaker, which still doesn't get the job done. Stone Cold performs a spinebuster, the game avoids a second rope elbow drop, and here we go again, back to the outside for more brawling. This time Triple H takes charge, and in the middle of the brawl, Hunter puts the bell back in the ring, and the game then looks to end it with a pedigree on the ring steps. This gets countered and a backdrop sends Hunter through the announce table, and this particular spot got the crowd going crazy. Austin doesn't give Hunter a moment to recover. He body slams him on the broken table before laying in more right hands. To their credit, these two have went hard throughout this whole match, though it looks like Hunter's had enough. The two get in the ring, Triple H makes it clear he wants no more, but Stone Cold isn't through just yet. The rattlesnake stomps a mud hole into his opponent and he lines up a stone cold stunner as the game gets to his feet. Austin performs his finishing move. He now has a chance to pin Triple H, but Stone Cold wants to hurt his opponent. He wants to injure the game. Stone Cold grabs a chair, he puts it on Hunter's ankle. It looks like Austin's going to Pillmanize the game, but he has second thoughts. He moves the chair from Hunter's ankle to around the game's neck, though Hunter saves himself by rolling out of the ring. The two head to the outside again, and this is the end of our match, folks. There's no winner in this one, and it gets ruled as a no contest. The competitors fight up the ramp and they go to the backstage area, and they aren't going to return to the ring from this point on. Hunter gets thrown into a vending machine and it looks like the fight is now over, but the Radicalz show up to attack Austin and Eddie Guerrero moves Triple H away from the fight. Officials appear and they try to break things up, but they aren't having much luck. Chris Benoit in particular is beating the hell out of Austin while Triple H gets in his car, and Benoit lures Stone Cold into the parking lot. This is clearly a trap. Benoit rushes out, he waits for Stone Cold, but it seems that Austin's disappeared. Triple H then orders Benoit to go find Stone Cold so the game can run him down. Benoit heads back into the arena, Hunter waits in his car, and Stone Cold shows up in a massive forklift which somehow Triple H didn't see nor hear approach him. Survivor Series ends in spectacular fashion with Austin sticking the forks underneath Triple H's car. The rattlesnake then brings Triple H to a wide open space as Hunter pleads with Austin to let him go. The car gets lifted high into the air and Hunter's now begging Stone Cold for mercy, and Austin drops the car onto the ground while Triple H screams, "Holy shit." Stone Cold has finally got his revenge, and that revenge was in form of the attempted murder of Triple H. How someone can survive such a fall, I've no idea, but that's how it ended, ladies and gents. One of the most memorable moments of the whole Attitude Era right here. I went into this one with high hopes, but Survivor Series 2000 was average at best. The lineup was good, some big names competed in the ring, but I found the show to be a bit disappointing. Not bad, but definitely one of the year's lower ranked WWF pay-per-views in my opinion. The main event was the best match on the card just by default, and even though both Austin and Hunter had better matches at No Mercy, this main event was a bit too long considering it was mostly a brawl, and it gets by because it features Stone Cold, Triple H, and the story of their rivalry. Nothing more really. But that was Survivor Series 2000. I don't really recommend it if I'm totally honest. You can do much better than this when considering WWF pay-per-views from the year 2000. Thanks for watching, folks, I do appreciate it, and I'll see you on Thursday for Reliving the War. Please take care.